I've had a lifelong ambition to actually be a guest on The View. They'll never have me on, of course, because it would go horribly for them. But today, we're going to go through some of the cringiest moments from The View, a repository of nearly all human stupidity. Total IQ 7.
Ben Shapiro, known for his blunt style and conservative views, frequently confronts figures like Whoopi Goldberg on critical issues ranging from politics to culture. His debates with Goldberg and her co-host on The View frequently showcase a clash between liberal and conservative viewpoints, particularly on issues such as identity politics and American ideals, prompting intense reactions from supporters on both sides.
The Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race.
Ethnicity.
Well, no, it's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
No!
Ben Shapiro slammed Whoopi Goldberg's views on the Holocaust, calling them unaware and insensitive. He remarked that Goldberg's failure to acknowledge the Holocaust as not about race demonstrates a problematic misunderstanding, particularly given that it was a racially driven genocide against Jews. Shapiro, a Jewish activist, criticized Goldberg's words, arguing they dangerously downplayed the importance of the Holocaust and its racial roots. His reaction highlighted the emotional weight of this historical tragedy, as well as the insensitivity he believes Goldberg showed by describing it as man's inhumanity to man.
Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how people treat each other.
It's about how people treat each other. It's not about race. Okay, so you actually have to start this conversation a little earlier because Whoopi Goldberg actually said right before this that this is white people, this is a direct quote, this is white people doing it to white people.
She went on to suggest that Hitler's actions were an example of white people doing it to white people, minimizing the significance of racial identification in the Holocaust. Ben Shapiro firmly disagreed, claiming that Hitler recognized Jews as a distinctive race and utilized race-based philosophy to justify systematic discrimination and crimes. According to Shapiro, Jews were formerly regarded as a distinct ethnic group from whites, and were only recently classified as part of the larger white category.
So Whoopi Goldberg is just wrong on the merits. So in one second, we'll get to her apology and then her doubling down on Stephen Colbert. But what I really want to get into is why this matters, because it actually does matter quite an awful lot.
Goldberg's words drew much criticism, prompting her to give a semi-apology. In an attempt to clarify her position, she referred to Jonathan Greenblatt of the Anti-Defamation League. However, Ben Shapiro argues that Goldberg's remarks, especially regarding race and power dynamics, are dangerous, fueling anti-Semitism. He emphasizes that such things go beyond mere misunderstandings. They reflect a broader ideological divide that has serious implications.
And both he and Whoopi Goldberg screwed it up, but Whoopi just kept doubling down on the idea that this was white people who are trying to murder other white people, which means that it's between two of y'all, right? It's between y'all, as she suggested on The View. Here was Whoopi Goldberg again, trying to suggest that discrimination only exists when you can see visible differences between people.
Shapiro criticizes this, noting how such thinking parallels dangerous historical ideas, like the Nazis' attempt to justify racism by creating arbitrary physical distinctions. He highlights how Goldberg's repeated attempts to defend her views only deepen the divide, making her statements problematic in the broader conversation about race and discrimination.
She tweeted something comparing the U.S., Israel, Hamas, and the Taliban as all terrorist organizations. And she has maybe way more knowledge and experience in the very complicated Middle Eastern relations.
He's even referred to The View as a human repository of stupidity, claiming that Goldberg often misses important details in her statements. Shapiro especially disagrees with Goldberg's comparison of the U.S. and Israel to groups like Hamas and the Taliban, which he feels oversimplifies complex issues. He contends that such views are dangerous and fail to understand the full scope of these topics.
Depends on who you talk to. Whoopi, always available to sign in.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
To both compare Israel and the United States to terrorist organizations and also compare terrorist organizations to apparently not terrorist organizations. Like, Hamas is not a terrorist organization?
For Shapiro, Whoopi Goldberg's statements on race, culture, and international relations reveal a troubling pattern of oversimplified and, in his view, obnoxious thinking. He believes her claims ignore key facts and misrepresent complex issues. This ongoing clash between Shapiro and Goldberg highlights the deep divide between conservative and progressive media, illustrating how these perspectives shape public discourse. What's your take on Whoopi's controversial remarks? Do you agree with Shapiro's stance? Let us know in the comment section below.
How many more of these are there?
I don't think that kids in this country are learning our history. They're not learning about slavery. They're not learning about Jim Crow. They don't understand the history of black Americans in this country. If they did, they would then understand white privilege better.
On the other hand, Joy Behar argued that U.S. students are missing out on learning essential historical topics such as slavery, Jim Crow laws, and FDR's role, stressing that understanding Black American history is crucial to understanding white privilege. She believes these topics are often overlooked in favor of a more limited perspective. Ben Shapiro disagrees, arguing that while these concepts are taught in schools, there's been a trend toward identity politics and victimhood.
What is she talking about? We all learned in school about slavery and Jim Crow and FDR. Honestly, it's the people who are teaching DEI crap in public schools who actually don't care whether the kids know who FDR is. Those kids don't know the first thing about history.
Ben Shapiro has often condemned Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar's statements on The View, stating that they frequently lack factual support and indicate a weak knowledge of critical issues. He believes Behar, in her defense of racial minorities, unintentionally makes comments that could be considered offensive or even racist. He also challenges Goldberg's progressive views, suggesting that they sometimes contradict her own liberal beliefs.
Ideological divide breaks down to the Republican Party being an extremist party, and the Democratic Party actually, as you just mentioned, Sarah, moving more to the center.
What in the... what?
The tension escalated as Sonny Hostin from The View argued that the Republican Party is moving toward extremism, while the Democratic Party is apparently going toward the center. He quickly questioned this claim, pointing out that today's Democratic ideas are more closely aligned with the Republican attitude than the Democratic platform of the 1960s under JFK.
You have to be so ignorant to believe all this stuff. But that's the name of the show. I mean, this show is about the stupidity of a bunch of people sitting around and jabbering about things of which they know not. Alrighty, folks, that was us going through some of the worst moments of The View.
Furthermore, he didn't hold back in slamming The View, calling it a platform for stupidity where people discuss complex issues without understanding them. He sarcastically noted that the show's worst moments are the most memorable, questioning if there are any best moments. He described it as an endless desert of stupidity, feeling it contributes to a lack of valuable insight and fuels the ongoing political and cultural divide in the country. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell icon so you always stay updated. See you in the next one.